Oh, here we go. These boys are going to have a big conversation now about drug taking and all of the negative associations that some people might have associated with these types of substances. But it wasn't until my late 20s where I actually picked up my first book on ayahuasca that was actually written by a psychotherapist. And it was about 56 accounts of patients that she had with chronic conditions around addiction and mental illness that she had not been able to treat. And she had taken them to the jungle and she'd been able to cure or at least significant levels of treatment change in about 82% of them. Then I became familiar with James Fadiman's work. And that's when it really kind of became clear to me that, holy shit, like we actually know a hell of a lot about these substances and how they've been used. So I'm curious from your perspective, did you see that there was going to be a therapeutic benefit here, or was there more a curiosity to understand?
I am interested in kind of some of the weirder aspects. I mean, there are lots of people interested in psychedelics and their therapeutic potential and doing a lot of awesome work in that regard. I think anyone who studied psychedelics certainly is aware of the history. Psychedelics were showing great promise in therapeutic contexts, but certainly, I'm very aware of what these drugs are going to do to psychiatric. I don't think I could have predicted the almost revolutionary effect psychedelics are going to have. And I think that many people still don't accept that. But in my opinion, it's going to be penicillin levels of, like there's basically medicine can be broken up basically in two eras, pre-penicillin and post-penicillin. Pre-penicillin, you got an infection, good night. Post-penicillin, you get an infection. Well, it's pretty easy to treat. I mean, it's hard to believe, really, what it must have been like to live in a pre-penicillin era. And that is what I think psychedelics are basically the penicillin of the 21st century, in the psychiatric penicillin, and that they are going to completely revolutionize. I couldn't have predicted that. And this has been going on since the 1950s. Scientists weren't interested in what you saw. It was a hallucinogen. It caused hallucinations. The nature of those hallucinations and the structure and the content was not interesting to them. And I think that seems still to be the case for a lot of scientists now, who will just regard, most of them have never taken DMT, and they will say DMT is just another short-acting, powerful hallucinogen. But they don't really understand what DMT is. And DMT is something very different. I think very few people who smoke high-dose DMT would come back and say, oh, it's just hallucination. There's something else going on. Something that, in my opinion, and in my scientific opinion as well, not just in my personal subjective opinion, in my neuroscientific opinion, the DMT state, the DMT realities, the DMT worlds are actually confounding. They are difficult to explain in terms of modern orthodox neuroscience.